it is a great day. Yes, we are on a YouTube live. Thank you, technical team, for all your support. Here, I would like to mention that the Expression English Private Limited is sponsored. Today's is sponsored, and actually, they have arranging all the 17 days Zoom platform. So hats off all the team members of the Expression English for your technical assistance. Virtual clap for the Expression English. Thank you very much. Yeah. So our guest of honors and the guest speakers has come. So I would like to request Bhumika ma'am, please proceed ma'am. Please start the session. Bhumika ma'am, are you there? Okay. Okay, ma'am, I'm unmuting you. Okay, just hold on.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes.
All right, ma'am. So a substantial number of participants have joined, so we'll begin our session. A very warm good morning to one and all. Greetings from India. Namaste to everyone. I, Bhumika Saxena, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Law, Oriental University, welcome you all across the world for celebrating the 5th day of the Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2022. Now, quickly, I would like to address the aim and vision of Oriental Group, of which we are a part. Oriental Group is one of the top names in education in Central India since 1995. Oriental University is the first private university of Indore, which was established in the year 2011 with the vision to provide a distinctively Indian environment of educational excellence. We are really proud to be a part of this organization. Now, coming to our session for the day, we all are gathered here to discuss Goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals, that is, to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful and sustainable world. The exclusion of women places half of the world's population, societies, and economies. Equal access to education, decent work, and representation in political and economic decision-making processes are not only rights women should have, but they benefit humanity at large. So by investing in the empowerment of women, we are not only making progress on Goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals, we also make gains on the elevation of poverty and fuel sustainable economic growth. So without wasting any further time, I would now like to invite Dr. Anar Mehta ma'am, National President of Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and our guest of honor for the welcome address. Over to you, Anna ma'am.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
very good morning from India. Namaste. I am totally overwhelmed speaking on this platform, as gender equality is my favorite subject in all the United Sustainable Goals. I thank Dr. Supriya Pathak and Oriental University for inviting me to this wonderful platform. Dear ladies, dear soul sisters, gender equality is so important in this 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Women are considered to be options to everyone, not only in India, but globally. So according to me, it's very important to empower women nationally, locally, and globally. My institution, NGO, the organization Wiki, National NRI Council, and Srishti Bharat Foundation works for gender equality, not only in urban areas, but in rural areas. We make it a point that women are given due importance in their work area, in their households, in their families, in their communities, and their societies. Our United Nations Sustainable Goals, the gender equality in US, UK, in Dubai, Australia is so important. I have given various workshops on this topic across the world. And I pledge that I'll make it a point that the world becomes gender equal. Today, I welcome my lovely sisters to present their views on this fantastic topic, the gender equality. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for addressing the session. We are really glad to have you here with us today. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Sanjay Sharma, sir, Principal, Indore Management Institute, India, and our second guest of honor for the welcome address. Sir, over to you. Supriya ma'am, sir is not audible. I think we'll have to unmute him. I kindly request the technical team to unmute Dr. Sanjay Sharma, sir.
Ma'am, I am audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible now.
Yeah, good morning to one and all. Firstly, it is an honor for me to be a part of such a big and meaningful event. I am very thankful to Witty Gossip Association for making me a part of Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2022. Today, I am here to say something on Goal 5, that is gender equality. From the ancient India time, the fight is not for human status, but for human worth. The claim is not to end inequality of women, but to restore a universal justice. The bid is not for loaves and fishes for the forsaken gender, but for cosmic harmony, which never come till woman comes. We all are very well aware from the fact that all over the world, 50% of the population is constituted by women. But in our country only, there is a decreasing ratio of women on the basis of sex selection abortion. The situation of decreasing sex ratios of male to female is the reason of unequal social status of women with the man. On the other hand, in Western countries, women in reality are equal with men. But in India, the situation is not so. In fact, it is not just on paper that we provide equal status to women in our country. Also, it is evident from our culture that one side we treat women as a goddess in the form of Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, and very next moment all the heinous and illegal offense were committed against them. Today, as per our constitution, we provide equal status to women on the basis of equality principle. But to achieve or gain this equality, women have to struggle for a long time. Women in pre-Vedic period, historical studies and the scriptures indicate that Indian women enjoyed a comparatively high status during the early Vedic period, surpassing contemporary civilization in ancient Greece and Rome. The Aryans, who were mostly busy fighting wars, regarded women as useful and productive members of society. Though the women participated in each family ceremony with men, but they only played a role as a silent observer, not an active participant. As per Manu, men always enjoyed unchallenged authority over their wives. Child marriage, polygamy, and sati were prevalent at that time. Still, out of all these things, women at that time were respected by the society. However, change into the status of women introduced in the 15th century. Saint and supporters of Bhakti movements were expounded and spoken about the equality of women with men. During this period, men are polygamous and widows' warnings was accepted norms. The person who have bring main changes in Indian society for this woman equality, I think Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, Jyotiba Phule, their struggle for the improvement of status of women in Indian society. And I am the position on the status of today's women in India is considerably changed in modern society. The population of women is almost half of the total population of India. And a country or a community cannot be considered civilized where women is not honored. Indian laws are being made without discrimination against women. As a result, Indian women enjoy high position in our society. I am very happy that women today occupy high ranking posts like IAS, IPS, also in our defense services. The modern Indian women participants in various sports and games like football, hockey, cricket, table tennis. Sania Mirza and Sania Nehwal are some of the examples. The contemporary Indian women serve as MP, MLA, governors, and ministers. Women in recent times like Mother Teresa, Sonia Gandhi, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, Subramaniam, Lata Mangeshkar, our ex-president Pratibha Patil have achieved international fame. Women have also achieved high fame in the area of literature, music, and acting. So at the end, I can only say that the gender equality is start from our house, where parents like us have to teach our son and daughters equally, and all aspect of Indian male-dominated society, women were suffer by unequal social status with man. I am proudly, in my concluding remark, I am proudly said that I am working in an institute where women have equal right, or I can say that more than man in our institute. A good example of women equality and women empowerment. In IMI, we have more than 75% of our staff is women, and all the top chairs are governed by women under the leadership of Ms. Ankita Gupta ma'am. So it is all from my side, and thank you for inviting me. It is a great pleasure for me to be a part of this great event. Thank you. It is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, would you like to do our signature style?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now, Bhumika, please proceed further.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for addressing the session. And sir very rightly said, ending all forms of discrimination against women and girls is not only a basic human right, but it is also a multiplier effect across all other development areas. So, sir, thank you so much for addressing this issue, and we are really glad to have you here with us today. Now we'll proceed further. Now I'd like to invite Professor Dr. Priya Sipaha ma'am, Dean, Faculty of Law, Oriental University, Indore, to address this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bhumika ma'am. Respected dignitaries, all the participants, I, Dr. Priya Sipaha, on behalf of Oriental University and Women and Gender Development Cell, welcome you all. A very warm welcome to all of you. It is really a matter of delight for me as well to be a part of such a wonderful morning, especially celebrating the Goal 5. Now, as far as the Goal 5 is concerned, the gender discrimination is an organized, unfavorable treatment of individuals on the basis of their gender, which denies those rights, opportunities, or resources within any given society. And Oriental University Indore is well prepared to handle them, respond to gender-sensitive issues, and provide an environment where men and women can work together with a sense of personal security and dignity. For this purpose, the university has set up Women and Gender Development Cell. The cell engrosses the awareness about gender issues and working towards and creating an enabling environment of gender justice. We are having some objectives, with the objectives to make the young boys and girls gender sensitive and create positive values, the support the girls and their rights. To understand and progressively engage with issues of gender inequalities, at the same time intersecting with other vulnerabilities. to initiate dialogues and promote gender awareness within the Oriental community, and to provide in general guidance on gender mainstreaming to all institution activities in the form of targeted group discussion, debates, poster competition, etc. To provide an integrated and interdisciplinary approach to understand the social and cultural construction of gender that shapes the experience of women and men in society. To generate awareness in regard to equality in law, social system, and democratic activities. Generate awareness in terms of equality in law, in the social system and in democratic action, to create awareness program through seminars, lectures, talk, debates, workshop, screening of films and documentaries, etc. And definitely to organize such programs. And therefore, the Women and Gender Development Center, on one hand, we strive towards activities, programs to create a gender awareness and gender just environment within the campus. And on the second hand, on the other side, it contributes to prepare and capacitate young people with appropriate perspectives, attitudes, and skill to work towards creating gender such spaces in the external world outside the institute as well. Since we are having a MOU with Wiki, we are looking forward to such more events mutually. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that we will be creating a good and wonderful environment for gender equity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such insightful words. It was indeed enriching one. Now, I would like to proceed further with the session. So today I would like to invite our first guest speaker, Professor Yusuf Ibrahim, sir, from Brunei. Sir, am I audible to you?
Dr. Ibrahim, we would like to request you, please switch on your camera and please let me know in a chat box if you are available for a speech at this time or not. Yes, Dr. Ibrahim has switched on
okay.
his camera.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you. Let me set up my list for presentation.
Yes.
Okay. Can I share my screen, please?
Yes, sir. You are a co-host, so you can share your screen, sir.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just a moment, please.
No issue with that, sir.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
I think I'll skip my screen now, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much. Once again, good afternoon to everybody. I'm pleased to be with us this afternoon to talk about the very topical issue of gender equality. I'm going to talk briefly about global peace, sustainable development, and of course, the title of my presentation is Gender Equality, Women Empowerment, and 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. To be more specific, I'm going to talk about SDG 5. To start with,
sir, before starting your presentation, I would like to know about your country, sir, because your country is very new, which is today associated with us, sir. So please tell me, sir, about your country also, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you that I'm in Nigeria, but presently I'm in Brunei.
Okay, Brunei, yeah.
So,
okay, sir.
Thank you very much. We're in the afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed, sir, for the presentation, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So once again, I'm happy to be here this afternoon. To start with, let me start by saying that gender equality is very central to human rights and sustainable development, as we all know. And let me take us back to the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, whereby about 189 countries actually agreed on the issue of inequality, which pose a very difficult consequences for the people around the world. And within that period, and now we realize that the world has actually recorded some progress towards gender equality, and of course, towards elimination of discrimination against women and also girls. Unfortunately, the development have been so low, fragile, and sometimes incremental. And most disheartening in developing countries like Nigeria and some other African countries, and probably a few number of countries in Asia, it's so disheartening that even the progress recorded within the period we have Beijing Declaration has been on a reverse. In recent time, you all heard what happened in Afghanistan, where the new regime did not allow girls and women to return back to school. This is not good enough against the background of what the world has recorded in the last few years towards eliminating any form of discrimination against women. Having said that, another very topical area that relates to the issue of gender equality is the problem of domestic violence, issue of women participation in politics, access to resources and governance. Those issues remain one of the major problems in gender equality discourse. And of course, the increase in poverty among women around the world, especially in Africa, in Asia, even in Eastern Europe, is putting almost at risk the fundamental issue of SDGs. But let me say that there's one very important development that we never take attention to, and that is the CEDAW. CEDAW has been the core international human rights treaty on women equality in almost all fields. And the implementation of CEDAW could actually be used to promote gender-sensitive SDG implementation, especially SDG Goal 5. So let me trace the historical transition in terms of the quest for gender equality. We all know that when we had the MDGs, and of course, now we move to SDGs, the adoption of the Beijing Platform of Action, I would say that marked the transition from the MDGs to the SDGs. And of course, the 2020-30 agenda for sustainable development came into effect on 1st of January 2016. And the goal is to actually ensure that there's improvement in the previous agenda, which focused mainly on poverty alleviation. And unfortunately, when we have the first MDG, especially the MDG 3, it talks about promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women. Unfortunately, not much was actually achieved under MDGs, probably for certain reasons. A lot of critics has focused on MDG 3 and assert that the target of MDG 3 has not probably addressed most fundamental issues that have bearing on gender equality and emancipation of women from all forms of discrimination. Most importantly, we still experience the issue of violence against women. Of course, recognition of the burden of unpaid care work and disproportionate fall in women limited access to resources, and of course, the promotion of women's sexual and productive health rights, or ending harmful traditional practices such as early and forced marriage and female genital mutilation. I think these are the issues that one actually expects that MDG will achieve, but unfortunately, that was not the case because the goal was so wide, and at the end of the day, it focused more on poverty eradication. And without addressing these issues, the issue of poverty eradication and, of course, gender equality can never be achieved. As I said earlier on, the Agenda 2030 goes beyond poverty alleviation and eradication, which was the focus of the MDG Goal 3, because the new agenda therefore covers a set of issues across 3 dimensions of development, that is economic, social, and environmental. Because if you look at these 3 variables, these are the areas where you can actually talk about bringing about gender equality. So it is therefore universal as takes a holistic approach to address the challenges of sustainable development, and as it applies to countries rather than developing countries alone. If you look at MDGs, it appears as if it's addressing developing countries. And the issue of gender equality, discrimination against girls and women is a global problem, even in the advanced country. So, and that is the good thing about our Agenda 2030. And of course, it is expected that Agenda 2020, when it comes to effect in 2016, we prioritize gender equality as more or less a kind of a standalone goal, and which it cuts across all issues I mentioned above. Before we look at how we can use CEDAW to achieve SDG 5, I think it's better we look at gender equality from the perspective of SDG 5. To achieve gender equality, empower women, and end all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere, it is expected that we need to eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private sphere, including trafficking, sexual issues, and of course, all type of exploitations that women are experiencing across the world, I mean, all over the world. We must also address the issue of eliminating all harmful practices, such as early child marriage, forced marriage, and of course, the issue of genital mutilation, which is very common in Africa. We must also ensure that women's full participation and equal participation in leadership at all levels of decision-making is given a more priority. In Nigeria, for example, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, women have to fight. They have to fight for their rights so that the legislature can give them at least some affirmative actions in terms of quotas to be in the National Assembly. Because there is no way, if election is conducted in Nigeria, many times women percentage in governance is too low and is going down. And of course, when the bill was proposed, it was expected that the male gender will support the bill, but the bill was shut down. So they have to actually take proactive steps in form of protest to ensure that the issue is being addressed. Nigerian case is not alone. I'm very sure that this is also happening in other parts of the world. What about the issue of reproductive health? So the issue are so many that if they are not being addressed, then the issue of gender equality will continue to be a mere mirage. Having said that, in what way can we say that CEDAW can actually help us? It's a very old document, but we fail to realize that it's a very rich document that can actually help us to achieve Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is gender equality. If you look at the purpose of the CEDAW, it's actually meant to eradicate, its purpose is actually for the eradication of individual and structural discrimination of women in all areas, political, economic, and their social life. And since CEDAW was ratified by 198 countries through modification, of course, which reflect their cultural motivations and some other reservations, many states now collectively proclaim women's rights as actually women's rights. So if CEDAW has achieved this, there's no way we're going to pursue SDG Agenda 5 without using these particular documents, because these developments can actually be a catalyst for the realization of SDG and its implementation, especially discrimination against girls and women, and the issue of inequality. So if you look at CEDAW, and from my little research, I realized that CEDAW has been able to point out the major root causes of gender inequality. if you look, so in that wise, when we are talking about SDG 5, we must ensure that it's synchronized with these root causes. And of course, implementing it also means that we must focus on these root causes of inequality as identified through CEDAW parameter. What are those parameters? One, discrimination against women and girls are more or less gender societal power relation and a product of cultural and political stereotype. So we can't be calling for gender equality without first of all looking at the issue of culture. Sometimes religion also comes into play. So, and political stereotype that women are not supposed to be in governance. By some culture, women are supposed to be at the back. And unfortunately, women contribute so much to the global economy and in raising family. So this parameter, this CEDAW parameter needs to be incorporated in the implementation of SDG 5. Then those relationships also ensure an hierarchy between men and women. And in this way, women are forced to actually admit the dominance of women by men. Even in the Western country, I'm sorry to say, it's still happening, even though not in large scale. It took America quite how many years now to have the first female president. Of course, India has produced prime ministers, Pakistan, and the rest of them. But one would have expected that the advanced democracy, the advanced country, will have been the one leading by pushing women forward so that the other countries in the world and other modern democracy can also copy. So that is why I said that the CEDAW parameter is a very good parameter in addressing and implementing issue of gender equality under SDG 5. If you look at the root cause of gender equality also as identified in CEDAW parameter is that states has now, CEDAW therefore obligates states to work towards overcoming gender stereotype. That is the Article 5 of CEDAW. So anytime any state or whatever is implementing SDG 5, we have to ensure that we continue to fall back on CEDAW documents because it recognizes that women should have full and equal employment and enjoyment of all human rights. Requires for transformation and distribution of power in the society and within the family also. So these are the other parameters. Without much wasting our time, I will want to actually lead us to how do we leverage on CEDAW for promoting gender equality and SDG 5 in particular in terms of implementation. Well, at global level, we realize that the high-level political forum hold thematic discussions, review the progress of SDG. And we realize that the regional, national follow-up and review, which is a common theme of CEDAW, vary, but unfortunately, the resolution of all the follow-up does not contain any provision on how to ensure that state commitment is honored. A lot of states have made commitment to SDG 5 in particular, but how do we ensure that states honor their commitments? In particular, in my country, the only time we re-echo the importance of gender equality is during election. After election, that's it. You have to wait until next 4 years and every politician make promise. When I get there, I'm going to have more women participation. I'm going to ensure that women have access to resources. I'm going to make sure that women are not placed at the back. But after election, all this commitment goes to naught. And that is why I said that it's very important, therefore, we see how do we actually ensure that in our follow-up at regional and national follow-up and review of development in implementation of SDG, how are we ensuring that state commitments are not just mere gentleman commitment, but rather commitment to the honored? So because if you look at CEDAW, it seems CEDAW have a mechanism for monitoring and probably reviewing, the follow-up in terms of commitment of states to the ideal of CEDAW. So the cause of CEDAW and the result of its international monitoring process under the convention are a prime practical reason for using CEDAW to ensure that a gender-sensitive implementation of SDG is actually being adopted. So since these are therefore is a commitment, since our commitment is legally binding on states as part of their obligation under international law, then in that case, states must therefore comply with their human rights obligation. If we see CEDAW as a binding document and states has recognized women's rights as human rights, then states must be compelled to comply with their human rights obligation, which include rights, which actually, include women's rights, conventions such as CEDAW, and must not violate women's rights when implementing SDGs, not just SDG 5. So states must also use SDGs to realize women's rights. So through CEDAW, therefore, advocates of gender justice, those who actually have been fighting for gender justice, elimination of discrimination against women, equality in sustainable development, can bolster their demand through the legal obligation of state actors to respect and protect women's rights by integrating those rights into their legal system. This is possible. Once the states incorporate this in their legal system, then it becomes state policy to be implemented. It's a journey that will take time, but a 1,000 journey will start with a step. Once it is being incorporated into the law, then it becomes a binding document across countries around the world, so that it won't be just a mere promises that will never be honored. So advocates for justice, women's justice generally in SDG implementation also can point to CEDAW in their advocacy as a binding global standard to which the states have adhered to by their own volition. So consequently, the state therefore can take seriously the recommendation of CEDAW committee in addressing the issue of SDG 5. In conclusion, therefore, I want to say that my presentation actually borders on the relevance of CEDAW in achieving and implementing the SDG 5. So the transformative potentials of sustainable development goal actually hints on women equal participation. Their empowerment is very important. Their equal access to resources is very important. Freedom from gender-based violence is equally very important if we must achieve an equilibrium in the power struggle between genders. And of course, gender-based discrimination and exclusion of women is deeply entrenched in society and even in the state structure worldwide. So through the work of the CEDAW committee, I believe the CEDAW would provide an invaluable resources for identifying the core challenges in every state. And of course, the CEDAW committee concluded observation recently and recommendation will provide a baseline for future evaluation and of course, the specific target of the SDG 5. Once this is done, I believe that the fight towards gender equality is going to be a reality. And I will end my talk by saying that we must not stop until every girl, and of course, every woman is equal to the opposite gender. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views on this area. We are really glad to have you here with us today. It was indeed very insightful and enriching one.
Ibrahim, sir, could you stop the sharing?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ma'am. Shall we proceed with the next speaker, ma'am?
Yes, Bhumika, ma'am. Just to hold on.
Sure.
Ibrahim, sir, would you like to do this gesture, sir? Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
I don't know whether you got it.
Yes.
How do you say this? Lasilama, what is this? How do you say it, please?
Yeah, actually, sir, we believe not in the shaking hands. Actually, we believe in joining hands for the mutual association. Yes, sir. For the mutual association and the global empowerment of the world, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Now, Bhumika, please proceed further.
Sure, ma'am. All right, so I would like to now invite Dr. Shivani Singh, ma'am, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Law, Delhi University, to address this session. Over to you, Shivani, ma'am. Shivani, ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, so namaste everyone. I am really thankful to the organizers and Professor Priya Sipaha for having me here today. Professor Ibrahim Yusuf has broadly explained SDG 5, and it makes the transition even more smoother, as I was planning to take you all to target 5.2 specifically through my presentation. So if you allow me, can I share my PPT with all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second, give me a moment, please. I cannot share because one participant is already sharing the PPT. There is some problem.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, let me check, ma'am. Let me check.
Yeah, please,
Okay.
please help me with this.
I would like to request technical team, please check. Dr. Shivani Verma is unable to share the screen. Ma'am, now please try to share the screen.
Sure. Just give me a moment, please. I cannot. Okay, can I now share it?
Yes, ma'am, please.
No, I cannot actually, because I don't have the access to that setting where I can share my PPT. They're asking that you are not the host and you're not authorized to share it, basically. So it has to be done from your side, I guess, Professor.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, just hold on.
Sure.
I would like to request technical team, please assist Dr. Shivani Verma to share the screen. Sorry for inconvenience, ma'am. The technical team is working
That's
on
quite
it.
understandable.
Yes.
That's perfectly fine. That's not an issue. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Just give me a moment, please. Yeah, so as I was saying that Professor Yusuf has clearly explained what exactly SDG 5 is. I was specifically here, and I would like to tell all of you why I specifically want to focus on that. Because when we talk about gender equality, most of us, we do not understand the concept of feminism. We understand the concept of feminism on a very shallow level. We do not go deep down the concept and understand that we are not talking about the cerebral equality, not talking about the equality which is there in the mind, but before reaching that advanced level, the first step is to talk about the equality inequality which is very superficial, which is on the level of body. We need to have that autonomy on our body as women. Nobody possesses us, nobody owns us, whether it is our intimate partner or it is any random person while we walk down on the streets. So that kind of autonomy on our body as women is something which is going to create our existence. And if we exist as an individual having complete autonomy on our body, then only we can talk about deeper things like cerebral equality or gender equality in all other contexts. So that is why target 5.2 is somehow important for all of us to understand. Just give me 1 second, please. Yeah, so this target specifically talks about eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual and other type of exploitation. Why this target is so much important? Because you can understand how and what kind of violence we women are facing inside our private spheres and when we go out in the public spheres as well. And the gravity of this violence can be understood, that there are total 760 million people, specifically women, who have reported one or the other kind of physical violence they have gone through. This makes 1 in every 3 women victim of one or the other kind of sexual exploitation. And we are including only those cases which are reported. Mind you, there are many cases which just go unreported and they are not adding up to this number. So if you keep on adding the real situation, this is even more grave what it seems to be like. So through our presentation, I'm going to discuss what exactly is target 5.2. Definitely, you need to understand what exactly we want to eliminate. Then you have to understand the importance, why exactly this target is so much important for us women to be achieved. Then we are going to discuss the legal framework and what else can be done while we are working to achieve this target. So to begin with, let's understand what exactly 5.2 target is of SDG 5. So when we talk about elimination of all the violences against women in public sphere as well as in private sphere, we need to understand what kind of violence women face in public sphere, from killings to rapes to trafficking, sexual harassment, honor killing, exploitation, acid attack. All of this happens when women, they step out of their homes and they are interacting in public spheres. But having said that, we are not safe in private spheres as well. So what is the kind of violence we are facing while we are in our private spheres? Again, women are being killed. Women are being raped by their husbands. There are rapes happening by the close relatives. Domestic violence is something which is happening in every other household. Then there are forced abortions, there are dowry deaths also. And there are a lot other kinds of violences of which women are subjected while they are living in their safe paradise or private spheres or matrimonial houses or their parents' house as well. So that is why this target is very, very, very much important, because that is where you get your existence from. That is where you get autonomy over your body, control over your body. Why are you considered a weaker sex? Why are you considered as someone who can be violated? Not by intimate partners only, but any random person on the earth thinks that he can violate you. He can basically exploit you sexually or with any other kind of exploitation. So that is why this target is not only important to understand, but important to achieve as well. So as I said, why it is important? Because 1 in every 3 women is facing this kind of violence. There are total 87,000 of the women which were internationally killed. Out of these 87,000 women, 58% of them were killed by their intimate partners, by their family members. What does it mean? It means that 137 women are killed by someone who they actually trust and expected to take care of them. It can be their husband, brothers, fathers, close relatives, anyone. And COVID pandemic highlighted this trauma even more, because these victims, these violated women, were confined in the closed spaces with these perpetrators, with these violators, with these people whom they were trusting, but if they were getting in return was the domestic violence and all other kind of sexual exploitation. So when we come to this data, there is violence against all women and girls in public spheres. And as you can see, the data itself reflects that numbers are very high. When you talk about sexual violence from someone other than the husband or partner, it's 6%. Then we talk about female victims of trafficking, 92% of the total trafficked people, 92% were women. And there are various other kind of offenses or exploitations women are going through while they are in public spheres. If you go by the data in private spheres, it is again very shocking. As I just told you, 58% of the women, total 47,000 out of 81,000 women were killed by their intimate partner. Then there are injuries because of the violence. Then there are STDs, HIV, abortion, miscarriage, preterm births, and very many types of psychological violence women face. And we are not talking about weak women. We are not talking about women who are confined in their houses. We are talking about working women as well. And if you go during the pandemic, what was the violence and discrimination which women faced? So again, there are 10 million girls who are at risk of child marriage. There was violence against women. The number was 736 million. So the situation is getting worse with COVID. And it is going to be even worse once we go back to our routine, once we go out and interact with people who are probably unemployed now, who have probably gone through various kind of stresses. So this makes the whole world even more hazardous for the women to interact with. And that brings us to what exactly can be done, how we can discuss or how we can find out the cure of this situation. So when you start talking about how this can be cured, the first thing that needs to be understood is what is the etiology of violence? Why exactly this violence has been happening to the women and in all these spheres, public or private? So you need to understand the cause behind this disease, etiology of violence, okay? So there is this domestic space, and this domestic space is being shattered. More and more women are going out. The expansion of female territories are happening. And this empowerment is not going well with the male counterparts of ours. Okay, this economic independence that we have a state of mind, we have a voice of our own, and this creates a question mark on the patriarchal system. And this creates a disturbance in that settled patriarchy. This is the one reason that the retaliation, the reaction which we are getting is more severe violence from our inmates or from the public at large. Then when we come to commoditization of female body, this is trafficking basically. When you think that a female body is not a body of any other human being, this is a body which can be treated as a commodity. You can sell it, you can buy it. So this is the basic cause that you think that a body can be converted into a commodity and you can sell it. Then there is the concept of ownership over gender, which we call as husband and wife. The relationship is where wife is supposed to be someone who is owned by the husband. Husband can rape her, her consent will not matter. Husband can take the money away from her, whatever she has earned. That kind of independence which we are looking forward to is not there, because there is a sense of ownership over female body which is been given to male. Then we have false sense of entitlement over public spaces. Public spaces is something which is still believed to be a space which is dominated by men. So if you are going to be there in a space which is a men prevalent space, that generates a false sense of entitlement in the heads of men, that they own those public spaces. So if you are there, I'm sure many of us, we remember how people used to question when that Nirbhaya case happened. The questions were why the girl was out in the public space during late hours. That's how the sense of entitlement over the public spaces, it works against the women. Women are not supposed to be there. That's the entitlement of men only. Then we have resistance due to illusion of power and dominance. This illusion of power and dominance is there in men, and they resist when you go to intervene into that dominance. When you go and question their power, they resist, and that resistance comes in the form of violence. So this is the etiology of this violence we face and which we want to target through our 5.2 SDG. Now coming to what exactly is the legal framework which has been an attempt by the international lawmakers and our parliamentarians also when it comes to domestic laws. Why we want to go with these laws? Because that will help us understand what has been done and what more can be done. So as Professor Yusuf was saying, we have CEDAW. Then we have Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was in 1948. We have 1993 World Conference of Human Rights, again talking about equality, again talking about non-discrimination. We have 1993 UN Declaration on Elimination of Violence Against Women. We have International Conference on Population and Development. We have Beijing Platform. We have Council of Europe Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence. And then UN General Assembly also adopts biannually resolutions on the issue of violence against women. It was first of all adopted in 2012. So these are the international laws, and we have a lot of international laws seeking the countries to not only work, not only make laws within their territories, but to cooperate with each other globally to avoid the discrimination, to avoid and prevent the offenses against the women. And there are many countries who have signed this, and still we don't know, and rather we are going to discuss why we are still not able to achieve the target. CEDAW we talk about as a very good mechanism, but India ratified it in 1993, almost 30 years back, and still we haven't achieved what we wanted to achieve through CEDAW back in 1979. Now, when we come to domestic laws in India, obviously we have Constitution of India, prevailing equality in all the pretexts, talking about equality when it comes to women, no discrimination and prevalence of social justice. So we have a very well-framed constitution talking about all these kinds of gender equality and non-discrimination. We have Indian Penal Code also, wherein there are various sections prohibiting kidnapping, eve teasing, chain snatching, rape, sexual harassment, domestic violence, acid attacks, stalking. All of these wrongs which are happening against women are properly listed and prohibited in Indian Penal Code from very long time. Then this was not enough, and hence we move ahead and incorporated and enacted special legislations again to achieve something in direction of combating the violence against women. We have Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, Dowry Prohibition Act, Commission of Sati Prevention Act. We have Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. Then we have Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act. Criminal law was majorly amended by Criminal Law Amendment Act of 2013, and we have Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act. And besides all these international and domestic legal frameworks that we have in India, we have a very active judicial system also. Our judiciary has reflected it through its intervention, how for them also women empowerment mattered a lot, how even the judiciary wanted to intervene and prevent all kinds of sexual violences against women. We have many recent cases wherein judiciary was proactive, very bold and very protective when it came to violence against women. We have Independent Thought versus Union of India case, wherein court clearly said that even marital rape, if it happens to any girl less than the age of 15, is going to be considered as rape, as an ordinary rape. We have Lalita Topu case, wherein the court said that people now nowadays are living in live-in relationships, but because that live-in relationship is not equivalent to normal marital setup, you cannot abuse a woman, you cannot be violent to your partner. And that was the reason that Supreme Court said we are going to bring these live-in relationship also into the ambit of Domestic Violence Act, so that we can protect these kind of women who are into a live-in relationship from the violence which has been exercised over them from the side of their intimate partners. Then we have Lakshmi versus Union of India, again a case of acid attack where the woman was violated and she was attacked using acid. Again, the court intervened and brought certain new changes in the law by giving the lady, the victim, the compensation. Free legal aid was provided, and there was a complete ban on the sale and purchase of that particular acid. Then we have Shaira Banu case, again, in the name of triple talaq, because there used to be a threat on the on the married life of the women of Muslim community because of this triple talaq. And they were used to be subjected to lot many atrocities, either violence or mental cruelty, lot many things. They were just tolerating because they were scared of getting divorced. So that is how Shaira Banu has given them that confidence that triple talaq is not something which we approve, and hence you can live a life with dignity without this threat of talaq hanging over your head 24/7. That is how even the judiciary intervenes and tells us that this is what we want to achieve and this is what our little contribution is in the direction of sexual violence, preventing the sexual violence. So as you can see that yes, the target is very important to achieve, because obviously we are facing a lot these days. But having said that, we have international legal framework, we have domestic legal framework, we have judicial intervention also. So why are we still lacking? Why there is still a big road ahead, and what can be done in order to achieve this target? What more can be done? So let's talk about what more can be done. So number one, there has to be fulfilling the normative gap. When we talk about violence, we do not relate this norm of non-violence with human right or mutual respect or a mutual respectful coexistence. There is a normative gap which is there. So we need to develop an understanding about the concept. What is equality? What is discrimination? What is violence? What all kind of violences can be there and are happening with women, and how all of this must be clearly encompassed in the concept of, in the norm of human right. And then we should work together to prevail that human right, wherein I am not a woman, you are not a man, we both are humans, and hence we deserve to be treated equally. There is no weaker sex, there is no strong sex. Then understanding the vulnerability, as I say, that we basically think a lot about this has to be done or this is happening. We do not understand the root cause. We do not understand what exactly is to be targeted. If women are being trafficked and they are pushed into the sex work, there are people who are demanding that sex work. There are people who are pushing their daughters away, making them vulnerable so that they are trafficked. They are prone to be in a weak situation. So we need to understand these vulnerabilities. Once we will understand the root cause, then only we can go ahead with the treatment. When it comes to data, definitely there is a huge lack of data when it comes to reporting of such kinds of cases, specifically the cases where violence is happening by the intimate partner. Women still are hesitant to come out and report such cases, and our data collection agencies, again, are not proactive, are not sensitive enough to collect this data in a sensitized manner. So this data needs to be there to understand the gravity of the situation, to understand how many women are being affected. Then we are talking about redefining privacy. So privacy is something which is part of our right to life. But when you talk about privacy, it limits a woman into that periphery. And nobody else is supposed to enter into my bedroom to find out whether I am being raped by my intimate partner or not, because that's the violation of privacy then. So you need to redefine the privacy in order to understand where the line has to be drawn and what can be done to protect a woman and what can be done for the men not to take advantage of this law of privacy. Then, as my co-speaker was also saying, women must come forward and participate in policy making. More and more women should come out and raise their voices for the right cause. And then lastly, there has to be sensitization of the law in the cases of enforcement agencies, whether it's police, whether it's NGOs for that matter, whether it's the public officers, it is the court, it is the lawmakers, it is the law enforcement, other agencies. Everyone must have a sensitized approach when it comes to women. And end of the day, it's the change of the mindset which can bring in the change in the whole society. Law can definitely help us, support us, but the mindset, if changed, only then the target can be achieved. So the ultimate aim is to prevent, to protect, and to promote equality. Let us empower and not discriminate. And that is how I want to end my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this presentation. It was indeed very insightful. And ma'am very rightly pointed out how gender bias is undermining our social fabric and devalues all of us. And violence against women are not just a human rights issue, but it is a tremendous waste of the world's human potential. So ma'am, thank you so much for addressing this issue and how we need to work upon the same. We're really glad to have you here with us today. So Priya ma'am, would you like to add something?
Yeah, Dr. Shivani Verma, actually we have a signature sign with the joining hand. So would you like to? Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.
For your thoughtful presentation, ma'am. And thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So Bhumika, please go ahead with the next speaker.
Yes, ma'am. So now I would like to invite Dr. Arthur Kapoor, ma'am, to address the session. Arti ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, very much audible.
Yes, Dr. Yes.
Principal.vkh, right?
Before Dr. Arti will proceed, I have a very important announcement that all the guest speakers and all the speakers who are going to do a presentation, there is an award ceremony. There is a certificate from the Global Pride Excellence Awards and from the Global Empowerment Awards 2022. And these certificates, these awards will announce on 17th April. So please make sure that there is a time limit of best presentation. So time limit is 11 to 12 minutes for the best presentation. And the time limit for the best speech is 5 to 6 minutes. So if you want to claim the award, so please take care about the time limits regarding the best speech and regarding the best presentation. Thank you very much. So Aarti ma'am, please proceed.
Thank you. Greetings one and all on the other side of the screen. I'm really thankful to WITI organization to provide such a platform. I appreciate the recognition of Goal 5, Gender Equality, by the Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2022. Notwithstanding the progress made by the women in the world, we do not have a single country that has achieved gender equality. So we have a lot of work, and the work is universal. These issues bind all of us as a humanity. I'm Dr. Arthur Kapoor, as a 19 years career in education field and 3 years in the corporate world. I'll tell you, being a woman, I was privileged every now and then. I've served in many institutions of well repute during this time. I've taught subjects such as economics and psychology. I remember we were the 5 girls in the whole university when I passed my post-graduation in economics. So I'm coming from that era. So I have been psychological counseling, I've done motivation speaking, I've done many things as a trainer to bring women into the mainstream line. I was a frequent invited guest speaker at various prominent educational conferences, even throughout the country and the international programs also. I've been a part of like Brisbane, Australia International Partnership Program. So the issue of inequality everywhere is universal. I'll tell you, between among the country or within the countries, the issue will remain the same for the last so many years. The current extent of inequality means that people move around the world looking for means of survival, and all of us will have to deal with the inequality. Women everywhere in the want equal pay. Women everywhere in the want to control and decide what to do with their own bodies. And without women in the workplace, everywhere in the world, all of our economies do not grow to the extent that they need to grow. This is a big reality. Economic justice facilitates economic growth, and inclusive growth requires more women to be in the workplace. So there are many common issues that women need to discuss, and that makes the issue of gender equality one of the most globalized issue of like all time. Once the world together fought to end slavery, it was a universal issue. The world fought racism, colonialism, apartheid together and brought them to an end. It was not just the affected people who fought. The world has to fight this inequality altogether. It is not just women who must fight. Men and women must fight together for us to achieve the kind of change that we desire. The nicest thing is victory is for everyone. The barriers of women's economic empowerment and participation, starting from the barriers that are experienced by girls, such as in education, child marriage, and the different violations that girls experience that stop them realizing their potential, which is important to know. The importance of macroeconomic policies that recognize the role and the participation of the woman, starting with the issue like gender responsive budgeting. Those policies recognize that all countries have babies. Babies need childcare, and the childcare needs to be accessible and affordable. Otherwise, millions and millions of women cannot participate effectively, politically and economically. The fact that in most countries looking after children is a private matter for women is a barrier to have their full economic participation. If you I think everyone is knowing, but here I wanted to underline, men have to work so hard to become corporate animals and do not have time to be fathers. At that time that stops them for being able to contribute to the care service of the family. Woman has taken that part. She is into the process. She stops herself for being in participation in the labor market. So this is a change that must happen. More men in the care economy and more women in the labor market. We also found in the market that, sorry, in the work that we did both in the high level panel and the commission of the status of the women, the importance of women controlling their own bodies and have autonomy without discrimination, having access and respect for their rights, sexual and reproductive rights. All this helped her to have a better space in the society. I think we also uncovered in the discussion and the work something that we all know is in importance of equal pay. The fact that men, women alike want to be paid wages and that are equal in the contribution that we make. Then too, we are not equally paid. So too much to ask any worker. I mean, what are their, if they are like, they always ask, like think about if the existence of the woman, it is equal, like it's okay if they are paying 75% or sometimes 50%. So we are calling, therefore calling government, private sector, ourselves, even to have this change from your platform. I really appreciate this call to have this change point of view. Of course, most women are the base of like income pyramid in every life, every family, which means that they are if they are underpaid, they are also in work for which there is no minimum wage. Those women caught on what we call the sticky floors cannot rise up and will always lie closer to poverty than prosperity. You might have seen all those women who are single mothers. They always like have the this fight for the survival. So laws and facilitation of minimum wages are critical to have women, I mean, move like further in this particular like talk, if we can talk, are talking about. So these sticky flows take women to the areas which she never wanted to go. This glass ceiling should be broken, and we should come into the like main scenario, accepting this and help in removing this. So I think all these examples are, I mean, for the every part of the world, not only in the Asian countries, wherever you go, this is happening. So my personal suggestions are the call for technical and vocational education that increase being, see, I'm an educator for the last 19 years, I'm working as a principal. So I know this education to increase in especially developing countries are STEM careers to be increased. Their game-changing thought process that should be provided to women as well as girls. So this call for women empowerment principles to be signed by the companies around the world will like impact very important role. If countries were able to assist us to promote women's economic empowerment around the world, we would see the change very soon. And that is all again bring prosperity to the number of women as well as a part of the family and in turn society. I want to salute all the men who are in the room. The role of men and boys is really critical to the extent that there is a historic affirmative action where everywhere in the world, which is why they are where they are. We need men to turn the terms around and make sure that there is an affirmative action for women and we can have equality for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful speech. It was indeed very insightful. So, Priya, ma'am, would you like to
Thank you, Dr. Aarti Dua. Would you like to do this gesture?
Yes, definitely. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. All the
Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
So before proceeding further, we have a very special guest from the land of Nigeria, Osuvi Doris. Osuvi, could you hear me? Rupa Mukherjee, sir, please ask Osuvi Doris to proceed further. I would like to request a technical team, please make co-host Osuvi Doris. Again, I would like to request technical team, please make the co-host Osuvi Doris. I think we have lost the connection with the Osuvi. Rupa Mukherjee, sir, Osuvi is there or not? Please confirm. Yeah, actually, yes, actually she has lost the connection. Yeah, Rupa Mukherjee sir has messaged. Let me check out. Okay. So, yeah. So, we have today a very special guest from the land of Angola. So, Bhumika ma'am, please invite her from the country name is Angola.
Yes, ma'am. So without wasting any time, I would like to invite Enolia Foti, CEO Expressions of Humanity Foundation from Angola, to address this session.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity for being here to speak about women empowerment and gender inequality. I'm grateful to be here. I'm coming to you from the land of Angola. One of the things that I am is an international speaker, and I've had the great fortune of submerging with many tribes across the world and doing cultural studies. And what I have found across the world and in doing cultural studies is that to be born as a woman is to be born to have to fight and to have to come forward knowing that with all that we do and all that we are, we have to be aware. So as I look at all of the activities that take place around the world, the framework in which the world has been built in more of a patriarchal piece, as a person who has traversed the corporate world and encountered inequalities straightforward, where the expectation is that you are supposed to put on the man's suit, go to work with the man, and meet the man head to head, there has not been any room for femininity. Femininity is not a weakness. Femininity is a characteristic that brings balance. And we, as women, and we, looking in the gender inequalities, need to embrace that which we bring the strength to. There are many aspects by which we have to traverse the world with our strengths, fighting against so many different inequalities. But the strength comes by first looking within, and I'd like to address the mindset. When we look at inequality, we understand that we see all of the differences between one another. The differences between how we are physically, the differences between what our roles should be. And one of the aspects that I would like to bring forward is that if there was a possibility of traversing the differences and looking at each other as human beings, this is where we start. As children, we outline and highlight and see the differences in little girls and little boys playing, and how the boys are cultivated and how the girls are set for particular roles. And if this were the possibility to start, here is where the consciousness and what is brought forward in terms of the mind and what we can do for each other and complementing each other is most important. Here in Angola, I see children cultivated such that the male takes on the role of being responsible and having to have control of the woman. Control of the woman in which they are not allowed to do finances, they are not allowed to do anything but take care of the family and the home, lacking knowledge, lacking education, and are actually seen in certain regards as that partner that has a limited role and put in a framework and cannot exceed or surpass that framework. And in having conversations, it's not just that we need to change the gender equality, but we also need to change the mindset of how life is perceived and the roles are perceived. And this starts with the children. We work in many different ways to surpass what the inequalities bring forward in life. But the education of not just the women, the men, is crucial in helping to break the framework of what has been established. If a man is cultivated to not see anything else but exactly how to treat a woman based on a framework of inequality, he is cultivating generation after generation after generation that same framework. The key is that if we as women and men are put in certain frameworks and never given the opportunity to be educated to see life any other different ways, there's no possibility of breaking that framework. We are perpetuating that framework time after time after time again. It starts with communication and having the conversation. It starts with opening up the views and the expansion of the views to see that life can be lived a different way. It starts with the education of the fact that some work and some traditions are of value and some basically hinder and basically hold back and oppress we as women. Having the conversation to show the value of the woman, having the conversation to show the importance of the skill set of the woman and what the woman brings to bear, not only just in the home, but in the world. It starts with the children, and it starts with having the conversation, and it starts with opening up our hearts and expanding our hearts and understanding and knowing that the environment and the framework by which we work in is part of the systematic problem. And in order to change and re-establish that framework, to create a new one, it starts with the mindset. So I propose and I state that here, education of the youth, education from a young age, education of how to break through those barriers, how to see oneself and how to value oneself, and then how to educate those that partner with us that systematically take us down a certain path needs to take place in order to change that road. So with that, I'll leave it.
Thank you very much, dear, for joining us on the land of Angola. Actually, this is a very new country for the Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2022. And the whole Team Vitigossip Association is very delighted to associate with your country and to have you today as a guest speaker. Thank you very much, dear.
Thank you.
So, would you like to do this gesture?
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you very much, dear. Thank you. So, today we also have a very special guest from the land of Nigeria. Osuwu, are you there? Osuwu Doris. Okay. I would like to request technical team, please make co-host Osuwu Doris. Yes. So Osuwu, you are a co-host now. Please proceed, dear. So first of all, please switch on your camera. Osuwu, please switch on your camera. You are a co-host now. Actually, there are lots of problem to for the internet connection in the country Nigeria. So, Osuwu, I can see your name in a participant list, and you are a co-host now. So please, okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, here you are. Here you are. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, dear, please express your views on gender equality. And as you are working for the women empowerment and for to promote the gender equality in your country, so please tell us about it.
Okay. I would like to share my work with everybody to see. Hello?
Yes, dear, please go ahead. You are a co-host, so you can share the screen.
Okay. Can you see my work now?
Yes,
Yes.
dear.
Okay. Gender inequality in Nigeria It's been observed to male infidel in Nigeria. Excuse me. Please excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, you are audible, dear. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, dear, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, dear, please go ahead.
Okay, okay. So, there is the commonality of general belief system that says the best place for a woman in Nigeria is kitchen and bedroom, which was said by the president of Nigeria, Mohammed Buhari, last year, which all the women, both those in the house, we've been talking about the topic based on how can a president of a country utter such word that a place of a woman is in kitchen and bedroom. This trend has brought about tendemos misrepresentation of women's rights at the level of the family down to the secular society. The Nigerian society is a patriarchal in nature, which is a major feature of a traditional society. Nigeria, we all know. Let me go down. We have been facing a lot of problems, discrimination, both in the politics, in the culture, even in families. They don't regard women as a human being. That is the fact. Because if my country as a Nigeria respects every woman's rights, what we have been experiencing in Nigeria is totally unacceptable. It wouldn't have happened. For example, every day in my office, I receive a case of rape, a case of violence, sodomizing. Till today, the government has never done anything to bring the perpetrators to book. Women are being marginalized in Nigeria. I have let me go down to, in terms of early marriage, in Nigeria, the government, the traditional rulers, where the culture comes in, believe that as a woman, you are not supposed to go to school. Once you are up to age, you'll be married off. If you go to the statistics I gave, 98% of women in 2000 to 2002, we have a case of 250 young girls being married off in the northern part of Nigeria. In the south, we have 16 cases, 2020 and 2005, 2008. I listed it all there. You will see it, the north, the south, and the east. I break it down because each time we protest against the inhumanity and the marginalization against women in our society, in Nigeria, more especially in the states where I'm residing. I reside in Edo State, Benin City, Edo State. we have a law we call VAP law. Can you hear me, please? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
dear. Yes, dear. Yes,
Okay.
Osubu. Yeah, we can
In
hear
Benin,
you properly.
okay. Okay. In Benin, Edo State where I reside, last year, the feminists, the activists, with some of the CBOs and NGOs, we came together to plead with the First Lady to say enough is enough. The inhumanity treatment against women in the society is up here for us, that we can no longer take it. When we depend on the courts to give us a justice, the matter lasts like 2 years, 3 years before the victims will get a justice. We said no. There should be a law that once a woman is being raped, once a woman is being marginalized, once a woman is being violated, a law should take its course on the perpetrators. As at last year, the First Lady was able to help us to make it a law, put it in a book, which we call VAP law. VAP law. That's what we are using in this state. Anybody that is being found guilty, once a child is being raped, we follow a test will be conducted on the child, on the victim, automatically the person will be sent to jail. I'm very, very happy that that law only exists in Benin, Edo State. It hasn't circulated the whole of the Nigeria, because even in the House of Senate, they refuse to implement the law. That's why, as at last month, we celebrated the Women's Day. You will see some of all our women at the front gates at the Senate. They've been clamoring for it. We're carrying out protests in different states, but our first ladies, all the governor's wife, had to go to Abuja to beg, to stop them, to block the road, that we are no longer taking it the way you people want it. We cannot belong to the kitchen and the bedroom. The marginalization against women in Nigeria is too much. Let me take you down to the statistics I have on the women in politics. You can see the position there. Presidency, yes, is one person. No woman has ever contested for that position in Nigeria. Go down to Senate, we have about 109 seats in the Senate. In the year 23, we have only 3 women in there. 2007, we have 9 women. 2011, we have 8 women. House of Rep, in 2003, we have 21 women. 2007, we have 25. 2011, we have 12. Governorship election seats, we don't have any candidates there. No woman has ever been in that position in Nigeria. And this is why I recommend Rwanda. Rwanda has been a country I always use. Each time I'm talking to the youth on politics, women in politics, Rwanda has been the highest, as long as African country is concerned. Rwanda has been the #1 country to value their women. When you go to their parliaments, half or quarter is women. They give them that position, which is very good, which is how it's supposed to be. Everything should be on equal. I know, yes, we are not dragging the power with men, no. But in terms of politics, in terms of things that we supposed to be put in, we are being, each time people see feminists don't run shoulder with men, all we are asking for is for them to stop the marginalization against women. So in conclusion, 81 countries so far, husbands can legally prevent their wives from working. The same thing in the North. As a married woman, you have no right to work. I, as a man, will tell you when to work and when not to work. Is it fair? That is not fair. In 39 countries, daughters and sons do not have equal inheritance rights. The same thing that happens in Nigeria. More especially, our culture, our tradition contributes a lot in marginalization of women in some families. Women doesn't have equal rights. Women doesn't even inherit any property when their father dies. They don't. They marginalize them. They will tell them, you are a woman, you will marry tomorrow and leave, or you are already married. You have no business in this house. You have no room in this house. This is a woman that was born and brought up in the same family with a man. 49 countries lack law protecting women from domestic violence. When a woman is being violated, abused, I don't think there is any law that protects that woman. Every day in Nigeria, women are being killed through domestic violence, abuse, rape. I have never seen where a man, a victim, is being jailed. A man will rape a girl of 3 months. Within 6 months, the man will be released from prison. Is that how a country is supposed to be? Automatically, no. We are saying no to all forms of marginalization, all forms of inhumanity against women in Nigeria. Not only in Nigeria. I believe this is exactly how it has been. Nigeria, their own is getting worse and worse and worse every day because our government is not doing anything about it. Our government is silent when it has to do with women. That's why a whole president of a country only belongs to the kitchen. And you see where the law can never fight for, it will never stand to defend every girl child in their society. My own case, I ask, what about the families? Sometimes you will see a case that will come up, fathers giving their daughters away in exchange of money. Last week, I had a case, a girl of 8 years was given out by her father to a man of 65 years to go and sleep with, just in exchange of 1,000 naira. A man gave out her own daughter, a girl child of 8 years. And the girl was raped. The girl was defiled by the man. I asked the girl when I was carrying out my investigation. She said, "Ma'am, he touched me 3 times before the day break." A girl of 8 years being raped by a man of 60-something years. This is what we face every day. Enough is enough. Let women speak out. You know the problem we have with women? Some of the married women rapes, they will sweep it under the carpet. They wouldn't care to question when they speak out, the courts coming to the courts. Hello. So with that, they will back out. They will say, no, I'm tired of going to the courts. I'm tired of going to the courts because the government is not even serious to help the matter. With all the information gotten so far, it's already clear that this man raped the girl. So what is the law doing about it? What the law going to do to the man? What are 6 months? Within 5 months, the reason you will see the same perpetrator in family cases. Yes, with family to be disposed in the public, automatically we are not helping the society. The case will keep on rising.
So thank you, Osubu, for joining us. Am I audible properly?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, okay. Osubu, thank you very much for joining us today. Actually, I would like to capture you doing this gesture. So are you ready, dear? No, actually she has gone, I think. Okay. So we have a very special guest from the land of South Africa. So Komosto, are you ready? Yeah, she is ready. I would like to request technical team, please make co-host Komosto. And before before proceeding with the Komosto, yes, okay. So Komosto is the co-host. So before proceeding with the Komosto, here is the one student from the Indore Management Institute for the very short speech. So Parul madam, please go ahead.
Am I audible? Greetings to everyone. First of all, I want to thank Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit
Jyoti,
and
I think your voice is not audible.
It's not audible. Hello. Hello.
It is audible to me, ma'am.
I would like to request technical team, please make co-host Shruti Malviya. Shruti, you are a co-host, so you can unmute yourself. Shruti, you are audible, but I think some problem with your microphone. So Parul ma'am, with your permission, can we proceed with the Komosto?
Am I audible now? Hello. Am I audible now?
Yeah. Shruti, ready?
Yes, ma'am. Greetings to everyone.
Proceed, Shruti.
Greetings to everyone. First of all, I want to thank Indore Management Institute and Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit for giving me this opportunity to be here today. Today, I'm here to give a speech on an overwhelming injustice across the globe, an abuse that is crying out for attention: gender inequality. Everywhere, women are worse off than men simply because they are women. This discrimination harms us all. Just as slavery and colonialism were a stain on the previous centuries, women's inequality should shame us all in the 21st. Because it's not only unacceptable, it's stupid. Only through equal participation of women and men can benefit from the intelligence, experience, and insight. Equality is very good. Gender equality means to have equal rights, equal responsibilities, and equal opportunities for both women and men. Persistent differences and disparities between men and women have negative implications on the society as a whole. Women represent half of the potential in any societies. This potential is unrealized when women are constrained by inequality and discrimination. Many gender disparities emerges in early childhood and intensify in the adolescence. Girls are deprived of access of healthcare or proper nutrition, which leads the higher mortality rate. As they move into the age of adolescence, gender disparities widen. Nearly 15 million girls globally under the age of 18 are married every year. It is difficult for them to access education. The lack of education provided limits access to skills, jobs in good organizations, and repetitive posts. Worldwide, nearly 1 in 4 girls between the ages of 15 and 19 are neither employed nor in education or training, compared to 1 in 10 boys. In this generation, where we are getting more aware about gender equality, we can improve the status of gender equality through many ways. To achieve gender equality, improving the situation of women and girls' education is a vital component. By obtaining proper education, the door to many new opportunities will open up for women. They get skilled and can easily find employment. Employment will empower them and give them financial independence, alternative sources of social identity, and exposure to power structure independent of any other networks. It will give them the independence to make decisions of their own choice. The path of gender equality can be further reduced at work by reducing gender pay, earnings, and pension gaps. Another crucial step toward gender equality is eliminating all the forms of violence against women and girls in public and private spheres, like including trafficking, sexual harassment, and other types of exploitation. Some 1 in 20 girls between the age of 15 and 19, around 13 million globally, have experienced forced sex in their lifetimes. It is essential to eliminate all the harmful practices by society, such as girls' abortion, early and forced marriage, dowry system, and many more. We should try to make our environment and surroundings more safe and healthy for women and girls. Women should try to come into power through leadership roles in all these sectors. This will increase the presence of women in different fields and motivate other women and girls to do the same. Power in the hands of women will ensure their full and effective participation at all the levels of decision-making, political, economic, and public life. Women's equal rights to economic resources also promotes gender equality. India, among 153 countries, ranks 112 in the Global Gender Gap Index. Due to this, the government has also taken various steps to promote gender equality. They launched various schemes such as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, Women Helpline scheme, Ujjwala Yojana, National Mission for Women Empowerment, and many more. One is that causes gender inequality will be eradicated. Every family will understand the value of women, and the whole world will achieve gender equality in the real sense. Women are creating examples everywhere, and we all should highlight them to change the scenario and give them equal rights. It can be concluded that gender equality seems to be a subject matter that requires responsiveness from the intellectual fraternities. Future that we dreamed of may be brought to realism only when genders are provided identical access to all the fruitful resources. At all costs, it must be communicated to all the citizens across the globe that equality is a vital component to all the great deeds. It is time to think beyond the barrier, psychological barrier of masculine and feminine traits. It is the time to act. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for your presentation. It was indeed very enriching. Supriya ma'am, can we
Yes.
proceed with the further presentation?
Yeah, so we have a very special guest from the land of South Africa, Kumasto. Kumasto, yes, you are there. So Kumasto, you are a co-host, so I think you are able to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, please proceed, dear.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
dear, loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Thank you very much for having me here. And it's such an honor and a great privilege for me to have this conversation. And thank you very much for organizing this summit. I've been watching all the speakers. It's been very empowering. My name is Komoja Mashalane, and I'm a human resources specialist. I have a master's in human resources. I have worked in corporate environments, different environments, but I have noticed that human resources can be used to empower women and to address all the social problems that we have within our societies. That is why I've decided to be a trainer. I train women in empowerment in all areas of empowerment. I think, as far as I'm concerned, we need to redefine gender inequality. I think we need to redefine it because it seems it's just a concept that is used loosely maybe sometimes, but it has to be redefined and understood because, for example, when you look at political representation of women, you'll realize that there are women who are politicians. In other countries, there are more women who are in politics. But when you try to look at their impact within politics, it doesn't really make such a huge difference in other countries. So the reason why is because there is no integrated training or development of women. We just look at the numbers. For example, in corporate environments, we just look at the numbers and say, okay, there are so many CEOs, there are so many women in government, but do they really make a significant difference? Because we also want to empower and motivate the girl child for the future in order for them to be inspired. And we need sustainability. If we don't have women who are well-trained, or we don't address this at training levels, then we're gonna set them up for failure. That is why I'm so big on training and empowerment. And I believe that this has to start from a very early age, and it's training and empowerment of everyone, men, boys, girls, at primary level. I think the curriculum needs to be addressed, and how we teach our boys at a young age is very, very important, because they will continue to be the carriers or the implementers of patriarchy unaware. We cannot blame men for patriarchy. It's a system that they found and it will be there. But we can start at primary level and try to teach boys and change the mindset. There needs to be a paradigm shift of how we educate the boy child and the girl child so that they understand how we view women, why we need to respect women, why is it necessary that women must be represented. And the boys must understand that it's to their benefit as well, because as far as I'm concerned, the other reason why the world's economy is shrinking somehow, it's because almost half of the citizens or the people of this world are not fully utilized as a great resource, and those are women. And as long as we don't use women fully and use their potential, we are still going to struggle in this world. For example, if African leaders were women, I don't think would be where we are, in Africa, because I just believe that women have this diverse, contribution that they bring. There's this feminine energy that women have that empower, everybody. So that is why we are different. And we're not really saying women must be like men. All of them have qualities. Men have good qualities, women have good qualities. So I believe very much in education, so that when these women are trained and educated, they will have the confidence to express themselves within those institutions or within the environments, whether it's in politics, it's in government, it's in parliament, it's in an office or a corporate environment. So education is very, very important. And we have to look at the socioeconomic factors that inhibit those women from being empowered. Do we put high standards that are not attainable to other women who are in like less developed, maybe underdeveloped countries? We have to look at such problems, because there are women who are battling certain things which are not even, they have nothing to do with education. They are still struggling with issues of being dehumanized. We have to look at those issues and try to make education, be brought to their level of education so that everybody is empowered, and redefine the standards and have a collaborative way of educating everybody in the whole world about the necessity of women empowerment. Because I believe that if you don't change that or aggressively change the narrative of the women empowerment within these 10 years, we may not be able to turn it around. And that is what the future generations are going to inherit. And I don't think that's what we want to do. And it may be more difficult for them. So I believe that all institutions, all communities must be educated about this. And it's an effort that requires everybody. It's a collaborative effort. It requires the media. The media has a role to play. While they write about women who are in leadership, it's so important because media has great influence. The type of education that goes, into both girls and boys, because there's no point in empowering women who are going to work with men or boys who do not understand, because they will still, instill that that spirit of not having confidence in women. So we need to teach our boys to know and understand why it's necessary to work collaboratively with women, and it's a collective effort. So I think it takes a lot of learning and unlearning from everybody, from the society as a whole. It has to be intentional, it has to be collaborative, it has to involve everybody, it has to be integrated within our education system. And even from a very young age, boys and girls must be educated about it. And because there isn't much that we can do about women who are already a bit older. Yes, there is something we can do. We can still try to do that. But as long as we do not address it at the primary level of education and incorporate that into our education system and institutionalize it, because the issue of gender inequality has been institutionalized in a way. It is not in black and white, but it is there in churches, in your religion, in all spheres of life, in marriages, in families. And a family is a miniature society. What people experience in their families as women is gonna affect how they contribute towards the society. Even if we try to empower them within the society, as long as they're not empowered in their own homes, that is a problem, because those are the same expressions that they bring. If they are less empowered and they feel weak from the families that they come from, they are going to bring or express themselves in that same, mentality. So it has to be something that is incorporated in families, primary schools, churches, media. Everybody that is involved must make a conscious decision, collaboratively. It has to be in a cohesive way. And, strategically, there must be strategies which are implementable, which can be operationalized. And it has to be a global effort. It has to be a global effort. And every training must have that element. It must consciously, somebody must make it a conscious decision to say, this is what we're gonna incorporate in our education system. It can't be something that can be added on. You can't add something and say, we want to add this so that women can do this. Because what we want is to remove this completely so that it's sustainable, so that women who are chosen or appointed in different positions of power are able to sustain that, and those who come after them are also able to sustain that, so that we do not have the same topic after 30 years or after 20 years. Because we've been having conferences and summits and everything, and most of the time we talk about this problem. But I think at some point we have to agree on it, and we can't change it if we don't make it, like a culture or education, or incorporate it into our education or our curriculum. All the institutions, every sector, whether it's important or not important, but it has to be conscious and it has to be implementable. Everybody must be aware so that it's sustainable. And then in that way, I think we'll be able to impact future generations. And because we are not only fighting, the current, we are also looking at the generations to come 100 years later. We don't want to leave this world in this, this state, because it's an economic decision. If you empower a woman, you are making an economic decision, because it means the whole or all the people in the world will be empowered to make an economic difference and add value, and all of us will contribute. And I think this world will be a better place. So as far as I'm concerned, that is that. We just need that conscious paradigm shift of where we are going. It has to be intentional. It has to be collaborative. I think as women, we can no longer say there are women in Croatia, there are women in Norway. We are all the same, because we have the same challenges. We can no longer differentiate ourselves in terms of color, because in one way or another, we have a common challenge. Some of those challenges are because of patriarchy, and in other countries, it's more intense than other countries. So I think let's address it, but as long as we don't institutionalize it and make it a curriculum, training programs that aim or intentionally address that, and even educate our youngsters at school why it's important to respect women, we're still gonna find ourselves struggling with this topic. But if we really want to make a change that will last, then I think we need to address it, in this way, by appointing women and all that. But somehow we need to have methods to start and address it from early childhood. I think that's what I wanted to share. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, dear. Thank you very much. Would you like to do this gesture? This is our signature sign. Would you like to do this gesture?
I'll try, because I'm let me try.
Okay, dear. Okay. Amazing, dear. Amazing. Thank you very much for your wonderful speech, dear. Thank you very much. And actually,
Thank
I
you.
can see lots of messages on chat box that Kumosto ma'am, very thoughtful and powerful words you have shared. Actually, our students get enlightenment from your speech, dear. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So here we have Shreya Shetty ma'am from India. She is, I think, co-founder of Elite Women. So Shreya Shetty ma'am, are you, are you ready ma'am?
Yes.
Okay ma'am, please proceed ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Supriya. First of all, a very good afternoon, good evening to everyone who has joined in from different parts of the world. It's been absolute pleasure and privilege to hear to such eminent speakers, thought leaders, and action makers who have been addressing the Sustainable Development Goals and more so on SDG 5. Since morning, we have been listening to some enlightening, presentations and speeches. So I'm really glad to have got this opportunity, thanks to Witty Gossip, who have arranged for this summit for global peace and sustainable development. As a woman entrepreneur and Dr. Supriya also mentioned in my introduction, that I have been a founder of consulting venture Elite India. But previous to that, I have been serving the corporate for almost close to 2 decades. And with that corporate experience, somewhere, I think when I ventured out into social entrepreneurship, working on to the role of a human capital investor who was trying to bridge this, not only the skill gap between the industry and the academics, but also there existed a gender gap, which resulted into a lot of, which was a result of, in fact, a lot of factors. And that's where I felt that it is important to talk about women advocacy and their rights in terms of, how we can empower them. And that's how, through my extended associations of, as a president, where I lead the All India National Council for Wiki as a corporate communication advocacy professional, along with my team, and representing India nationally and globally at the G100 Global Networking India Country Chair. I feel that it is very important that a woman speaks on the issues, not just the issues, but also from the solution-centric approach. And here I would like to open my speech with a small quote, which goes like this: diversity is a fact, equity is a choice, inclusion is an act, and belonging is an outcome. For ancient, for the longest time in the ancient times, we have been seeing that women have been the driving force and the thriving force, be it managing households, managing kingdoms, or to the boardrooms. And I think that is what the beauty and power of women, the strength of women lies in. When we take a lot of examples that we are surrounded by in the history, there have been trailblazing women, who have been, for example, to name a few, there has been eminent women in the history like Savitribai Phule. There has been Sarojini Naidu, the Nightingale of India, who happens to be the first woman governor of the Indian state. And we have Dr. Prem Mathur, who was the first woman pilot. We have Suchita Kriplani, who was the first woman chief minister. And the name on the list goes on. But what about that? These trailblazing women have set the example. They have broken the ice, brass ceilings. But what follows in the later generation is there has been a evidential data and statistics which indicates a gender parity. There is also a lot of difference when it comes to pay parity as well, especially when we look at women in leadership positions, or looking at senior management positions, or for that matter, women in political running for political senates. So here I would like to take your attention towards a little statistical data which I came across during rolling out of certain women advocacy and empowerment programs in India. So basically, studies have estimated that if we advance the women equality, it can boost the overall GDP of India by $0.7 trillion in 2025, or that could be 16% as compared to the usual business scenario. Wow, now that's a huge gap, isn't it? Also, we see that often when a female wants to lead or chase her dreams, she is often, has to face or encounter a lot of challenges in terms of the social setup, the peer pressure, or the kind of access she's got to the financial resources or to the training and development or to the business capital. So all of this, I think, culminates somewhere because she has to face a pronounced gender gap, equality, which she faces in various fields, be it the corporate, be it in the profession where women have more inclination towards entrepreneurship, yet they are lacking behind, or we can say they are finding it more difficult to crack in the entrepreneurship because of lack of support, and they are likely to struggle also on many fronts because of the pronounced gender inequality. So with this, I feel that if we are able to set the right example by not just discussing in such forums, but rather driving some solution-centric approach where we drive sizable outcomes, not just by brainstorming, but also taking the accountability as women leaders for creating the right avenues for sustainable growth for women around the globe. So I think that is where everybody of us here is making the difference in their own way, whether academicians or deans of the universities, the corporate honkos. When we all come collaboratively together, I think we can make that difference to break the bias. A society where women can't realize the full potential or can't flourish in her business is a significant hindrance for the potential of innovation, economic growth, and creation. There again has been evidential data which suggests that as per study and recent survey, the measure to close the gender gap could be close to 6.8% gain in the GDP. Again and again, I'm talking about more on the entrepreneurship impact that it could lead to, because entrepreneurship remains a critical resource and a component to harness the economic potential of women. And this alone can achieve all the SDG goals by 2030. Further, if we deep dive into the data, we further see that despite a high economic growth and Indian economy making steady rise with a lot of startups and companies being founded by men, it is often seen that women-led businesses are lacking behind. The fact that the World Enterprise Survey has backed up this data, that the percentage of firms with female participation has been just 10.7%, whereas the 58.5 million business count by the census, which was conducted in the year somewhere around 2014 to 16, it amounts to 8.5 million women entrepreneurs or women-led businesses, which brings it down to the rate of 13.76% of women out of the total number of entrepreneurs. Now, when we see the larger picture, the fact that women-owned companies is a fact of larger phenomena of weaker engagement of women in business. This further records to the low female labor participation rate as well, where women have been seeing fewer opportunities to become leaders, professionals to technical worlds. Personally, I can share this experience with you all here. Coming from an engineering STEM background, where I ventured out, diversified my experience into HR, into consulting. I worked with a lot of manufacturing, automotive, basically into STEM technology. So there I realized that women in the boardroom, though they are given a space, but when it comes to voicing an opinion, she's often, asked to shut down on her opinions. In the early stage of my careers, I think this bias I did face in the early stages, and that kind of, really shaped me up to have my voice and have my vision clear, and to give that support to another woman, whether it is in terms of making available the right kind of opportunities, the diversity hiring part, or it could be skill-based education or giving fair promotional chances. I think all of that went a long way to help and empower women, not just in the corporate space, but also while mentoring them as, building their leadership capabilities, their entrepreneurial capabilities, to become the future leaders and entrepreneurs who are more financially empowered, and not just financially empowered, but also equipped with the right kind of leadership skills, which would help them to become emotionally resilient also. With this, it is not surprising to see that the World Economic Forum Gender Gap Report finds India's gender gap to be in the indicator gap of economic participation and opportunity, with our country stands 142nd out of 149 countries. like we all have seen in the last 2 decades or for 3 decades, there has been a lot of done which speaks about women empowerment, but I think the future is going to be all about female. So here's our chance to make that difference. And I strongly believe that the role of women in every aspect of building the economic growth, the social progress, bringing in innovations, it all goes a long way in impacting not just the GDP, but empowering the whole lot of nation. And that's where I think colleges like Institute of Indoor Management have been producing young youth, who are empowered with the right education and who have the sense of dignity to raise their voice for their own rights and to empower not just one woman, but a whole generation of women. To conclude my speech, I would say that when a woman truly needs to be empowered, she doesn't need to have access to not just quality education, but she also needs to have space in the decision-making process, be it in the political scenario of the country, or we talk about the managerial positions, the leadership positions, where we see hardly 9% of women being able to get into the executive cadre. So how about India as a country producing more Indra Nooyi, producing more of Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who took that risk of venturing out into a male-dominated industry, so to say, to take that risk of talking to investors. Often women are stereotyped, saying that business is more of a mindset which goes well with, men, as they are more competent and equipped. But why put women in these kind of stereotypes when she can develop a mindset? It's a proven fact that emotionally she's well equipped, and we all women are, inherently multitasking, having more productivity and efficiency. So why hold her back, putting her into this gender inequality? Rather, elite woman is not just a term or a Wonder Woman. The concept of elite woman is every single woman who has the right to education, who has the right to access resources, and who is equipped with the necessary knowledge, experience, and appropriate avenues to explore the growth and contribute towards the economic growth, social progress, and sustainable development. And at the end, I would like to end my speech with this message that every little girl who dreams will definitely have an opportunity if given the right kind of avenues and platforms and the basic rights, so that she can be a woman with vision and mission who can empower the whole nation. And with that, thank you so much once again. I think Witty Association has provided this platform for all of us to contribute with our thoughts, and I look forward to some great synergistic actions being taken out from this platform. Thank you so much. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, ma'am. Ma'am, please do this gesture.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. And actually, I can see the message from the Daniel. Actually, he wrote lots of about the women empowerment. The role of the women entrepreneur in the world is very important in all areas. The contribution is very indispensable here in this forum in a case. Thank you, Daniel, for your inputs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. So now I would like to request the technical team, please make the co-host Indoor Management Institute. Yes, the Indoor Management Institute is now a co-host. So Dr. Parul Sharda, ma'am, shall we proceed?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay. So ma'am, please call your faculty, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I now request Himadri Mishra to please come and present her presentation. Himadri, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Good afternoon,
okay.
everyone.
Please put your camera on.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Himadri Mishra, working as an assistant professor in Indore Management Institute. My topic today is women empowerment. So I would like to share my presentation which I have made regarding women empowerment. If you permit, ma'am, can I present?
Sure, dear.
Thank you so much. Ma'am, my presentation is visible.
Not now, dear.
Ma'am, give me a second, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, now is it visible?
No, dear, no.
Ma'am, still it is not visible. Oh.
No, actually, you are not starting the sharing screen.
Okay, ma'am, I have started, but I guess there is something.
And from the technical team, there is no issue. You are a co-host.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you are a co-host, so you can share the screen. Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Now is it visible?
No, dear.
Himadri, it is not visible. You just can send that presentation email to me, and till the time we can take one participant from Imperial College, Bargar, Odisha.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
So,
yeah, please share the presentation.
I think the student name is Doji Sahu, right, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Doji Sahu is a faculty of education from Imperial College. Yeah. Doji Sahu, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, ma'am. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Doji Sahu, working as a lecturer in the education department at Imperial College, Bargar. And I would like to thank you for giving me the chance or opportunity to tell something about the Sustainable Development Goal, which is related to gender equality. So gender equality plays a very important role in the 21st century because women play a very vital role to survive in the society. So I have to discuss the points. What are the steps we have to take for the for reducing the gender gap? So my first point is that end all forms of discrimination against the women and girls in every place and everywhere. And second point is that eliminate all forms of violence against all the women and girls in every sectors, that may be the public sector as well as the private sectors. And the third point is that eliminate all harmful practices like the trafficking, then early child marriage and forced marriage, etc. And ensure the women's full and effective participations, and also we have providing them equal opportunity to participate in each and every spheres of their life, because by the effective participation they can develop their different skills, attitudes, and leadership quality, which will help them in their future life also. And my next point is that enhance the use of enabling technology in the particular information and communication technology in order to promote the empowerment of women, because technology plays a very important role in the 21st century. Without technology, they can't learn anything. So technology must be known to them. And after that, we must make some sound policies in the legislation for the promotion of gender equality and protecting the women's sexual and reproductive health issues, etc. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Doji Sahu. It was very nice and crisp presentation, speech that you have shared. And can we have the signature gesture of?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Sure.
1 minute, okay? 1 minute. Please, 1 minute.
Yes, ma'am. I have captured her, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
please proceed with the next student, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am, sure. Can we have the another participant from Imperial College, Bargar? Sajia Sahin, the BBA first year student of Imperial College, Odisha. Sajia, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
This one. Share. A very good morning, good afternoon to one and all present over here. I am Sazia from Imperial College and I am pursuing BBA first year. First, what is gender equality? Gender equality is about women and men being valued to the same extent and sharing equal and fully in the process of development, enjoying equal status, recognition, and consideration. Why does it matter? Women and girls make up half of the world population and therefore also its potential. Rising women's participation in the workforce can boost economic growth. Investing in women's health can contribute to economic growth and have living standards. Why do we need it? Provide women and girls with equal access to education, healthcare, and opportunities, political and economic decision making. Eliminate all forms of violence against all the women and girls. Change harmful legislation that prevent them from realizing their potential. Take action to transform the world. Consider a world where men and women are treated equally. A world without bias, stereotype, and discrimination, a diverse, equal, and inclusive world, a world in which diversity is valued and appreciated. We can achieve women's equality by working together. Recently, we celebrated International Women's Day. International Women's Day, March 8, is a worldwide celebration of women's historical, cultural, and political accomplishment. The day is also celebrated in favor of global action against gender inequality. We all know the world is incomplete without women, but data suggested 70% of the 1.3 billion people living in a poverty area are women. They are dominated world food production by 50 to 80%, but own less than 10% of the land. Advancing gender equality in the context of climate change and the disaster risk reduce is one of the greatest global changes of the 21st century. Women are increasingly being recognized as more vulnerable to the climate change impact than men, as they constitute the major of the world poor and are more dependent on the nature resource which climate change threaten the most. Gender equality today for the sustainable development. As recently we celebrated the International Women's Day and the theme is based on gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Here the agenda is recognizing the contribution of women and girls around the world who are leading the charge on climate change adaptation, mitigation, building a sustainable future for all, highlighting women and girls as effective and powerful leader and change maker for climate adaptation and mitigation. The theme of International Women's Day is aligned with the priority theme of upcoming 66th Commission of the Status of Women, achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls in the context of climate change, environmental and disaster risk reduction policies and programs. The campaign theme for International Women's Day 2022 is Break the Bias through clarity, quality education for agriculture and health to make the world a better place for all, through a massive investment in women's training and decent work, through effective action to end gender-based violence. Do you know the color of International Women's Day are green, purple, and white? Purple is the color of justice and dignity, and green is the color of hope, and white is the color of conscientious concept of the denotes that the policy. Together, we can forget women's equality collectively. Let's take the brief history about the Women's Day. In 1908, due to inequality of women, a campaign for change, 15,000 women marched to New York City demanding shorter hours, better pay as well as voting rights. In 1909, the first Women's Day was observed across United States. Later, it was decided that March, it can be globally accepted day to celebrate International Women's Day. International Women's Day was celebrated for the first time by the United Nations in 1909, and our government takes various initiatives to change the gender inequality like Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao. At last, I would like to conclude that gender equality become lived reality. It will come from determination, guts, and heart. It will come from the men and women who believe they can make a difference. We must close the gender gap. Together, we can form women's equality. Collectively, we can all break #break the bias and celebrate women's achievement. Let's raise awareness against the bias. It's time to take action for the equality now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ria, for your very thoughtful and a very informative presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, Himadri Mishra, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready now.
Himadri Mishra, are you there? Okay,
Yes,
okay. I'm
ma'am.
sharing
Yes, ma'am.
the
I'm
screen
here.
on your
Ma'am,
behalf.
I'm ready with my presentation. Yes, ma'am.
Please confirm if the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Himadri, please start.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. So today I will be speaking about women empowerment. So basically, what is women empowerment? Women empowerment refers to making women powerful to make them capable of deciding for themselves. Women have suffered a lot through the years at the hands of men. In earlier century, they were treated as almost non-existent, as if all the rights belonged to men, even something as basic as voting. As time evolved, women realized their power. There began the revolution for women empowerment. As women were not allowed to make decisions for them, women empowerment came in like a breath of fresh air. It made them aware of their rights, how they must make their own place in society rather than depending on a man. It recognized the fact that things cannot simply work in someone's favor because of their gender. However, we have still long way to go when we talk about the reasons why we need it. Ma'am, please can you change the slide? Next slide, ma'am. Now, why women empowerment is important? Like we all know that still there is something which is to be changed is right. Still many women are not getting right to education. Like still in villages, we see that people do gender inequality. They prefer only the education of boy rather than girl. And even in some states, women like girls are killed after birth. So why it is important? Why women empowerment is important? In recent times, everyone is pointing on the woman empowerment. It is right to say that woman empowerment has become necessity of the time. Women should possess liberty, faith, and self-worth to opt for their demands and needs. Discrimination based on gender is useless and is having zero worth by looking at the growth of women in last few decades. Women are paid less and are treated as a cook and slaves in their family, and their real potential fails to get highlighted. Women empowerment in India is required to overcome the situation of such types and to provide them with their independent role in Indian society. Empowering women is necessary right of women. They should have proportional right to contribute to society, economics, education, and politics. They are approved to gain higher education and receive a similar treatment as received by men. Next slide is about the woman empowerment principle. Next slide, please, ma'am. There are 7 principles women empowerment. First principle says that create high level corporate leadership for gender equality. Second principle says that treat all people fairly at work, respecting and supporting non-discrimination and human rights. Third principle says that ensure the health, well-being, and safety of all workers, whether male or female. Fourth principle address promote education, training, and professional development for women. Fifth principle speaks about implement supply chain, marketing practices, and enterprise development that empower women. Sixth principle speaks about champion equality through community initiatives and advocacy. Seventh principle says about measure and report publicly on the progress to create gender equality. Next, the global landscape for women empowerment. Ma'am, next slide, please. The global landscape for women empowerment, gender equality is a basic human right, and it is also fundamental to have a peaceful and prosperous world. But girls and women continue to face significant challenges all around the world. Women are typically underrepresented in power and decision-making role. They receive unequal pay for equal work and often face legal and other barriers that affect their opportunities at work. In developing world, girls and women are often seen as less valuable than boys. Instead of being sent to school, they are often made to domestic work at home or married off for dowry before they are adults. As many as 12 million underage girls are married every year. While some progress is being made in various parts of the world, there is still a great deal left to be done to right the problems of gender inequality. Next slide is about what we can do, how we can empower women and girls. We can sponsor a girl. We can educate ourselves by finding about the issue that affects women, like about dowry system, about gender inequality. We can support women-run businesses, support organizations that empower women. We can even show your appreciation for the woman in your life. If we will start appreciating, like we see that our mother cook for whole house, what she needs a bit of appreciation. So if we will start showing appreciation to women who are in our life, it will empower them in some way. Lastly, I want to end with a quote. Feminism is not about making women strong. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives that strength. Thank you so much.
It was indeed a very nice presentation, Himadri Mishra, and you have presented very well.
Very well,
and you have quoted it very well.
Yes, yes.
True.
Very informative. Actually, the whole presentation means is full of facts, and means actually she delivered her talk in a very well manner. All points are very clear, very affirmative. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was my honor to be the part of this witty gossip, and I am thankful to Parul ma'am and entire IMI management that they have been organized such a great event, and it is so much learning from you all, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope Daniel and Christiana means love that the presentation.
Yes, yes, I can see their faces, the reactions that they were giving. Hi.
Yes. Okay, okay, ma'am. Ma'am, please go with the next.
Can we have the next participant? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Rani Nayak from Imperial College, Badgar. She is also a BBA first year student. She has recently completed her class 12th. Rani, are you ready? Yes. Okay. Please go ahead.
Everyone, and namaste to all. I am Rani Nayak from Imperial College and I am pursuing BBA. So I am going to discuss about gender equality. Every child deserves to reach her or his full potential, but gender inequalities in their lives and in the lives of those who cares for them hinder their reality. The ancient Indian social society always took a noble and respectful standpoint about women in the society. Women enjoy a dignified, respectable noble position, status, and place in the early Vedic age. They were given the right to participate at par with boys in the outdoor lives. As the society is changing, there is a need to recall our past. Some facts as per World Economic Report 2021. In this picture, I will be discussing about the gender gap in the global scenario. As you can see here, the global average rising is 13.1K dollars for women, whereas it is 23.3K dollars for men. So this is a gap in income. Let's have look on world political scenario. In political scenario also, in the lower houses, the state is 26%, that is 35.5K in total. Whereas in the case of ministerial level, the state is 3.5K, that is 23%. So there is a huge gap in political empowerment also. As per Global Gender Gap Index, the rank of India is 6th position in South Asia context, whereas it is in the 114th position in the global scenario. So let's discuss the key highlights. Globally, the average distance completed to parity is a 68% step back compared to 2020, minus 0.6% points. The gender gap in political empowerment remains the largest track with only 22% close to date. In economics, participation and opportunity remains the second largest, which is 58%. Gender gap in education attainment and health and survival are nearly closed. In education attainment, it is 95%, and in health and survival, it's 96%. So here are some suggestions that can be implemented for dealing with gender inequalities. First, gender analysis. Gender analysis provides the necessary data and information to integrate a gender perspective into policies, programs, and projects. Gender audit. A gender audit is essentially a social audit and belongs to the category of quality audits, which distinguishes it from traditional financial audit. Next, gender budgeting. Gender budgeting is a strategy to achieve quality between women and men by focusing on how public resources are collected and spent. Gender equality training combines various activities that aims at strengthening people's skills and knowledge on gender mainstream. Gender responsive public procurement. Gender responsive public procurement is a gender mainstreaming tool to promote gender equality through public procurement. Gender stakeholder consultation. Gender stakeholder consultation promote the participation of women and men in the policy making process to ensure that their voices are heard and their priorities are represented. Institutional transformation, a process of organizational change that describes how gender mainstream can be implemented into a public institution, and already existing approaches can be further advanced. Gender awareness rising. We are doing now. At last, I want to conclude that women's access to the economic as a result of reduced gender inequalities in the workplace and in the appointment process on the basis of reproduction. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Very nice presentation, Rani. It was indeed very nice presentation. You have covered all the facts.
Yeah, and actually you put the suggestions in a very well manner, and all the suggestions are we have to imply to achieve the targets of the gender equality. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much.
We have one very valuable feedback from our international speaker and international personality, I can say. Amazing presentation and important facts are presenting. This is for you, Rani, and this is for Imperial College, Badgar, Odisha.
Thank you so
So
much.
happy for you. Congratulations. Yes. So moving ahead to the, I think it is the last presentation, Dr. Supriya from our institute.
Yes,
Dr. Monica Agarwal, madam. Dr. Monica Agarwal, are you there? I request Imperial College to please stop sharing the screen. Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Monica Agarwal? Yes, she's there. Ma'am, I am presenting your screen in a minute. You can start introducing yourself till then. It is there on the screen. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am. A very good afternoon to all of you. Yes, a very good afternoon to all of you, all dignitaries, all management, all faculty members, and my dear students. I'm Dr. Monica Agarwal, presenting here goal number 5 of sustainable development, which is gender inequality. So first of all, I want to explain you women empowerment. Empowerment of women is also called gender empowerment, has become a significant topic of today's scenario in regards to development and economics. It is one of the main practical concern when we addressing human rights and development, because from Vedic periods, women had a higher status even in our speeches too. But in real practice, if we talk about the real practice, the status of women were not satisfactory from medieval to the modern India. Including the British period, women empowerment of our present society has become a significant topic of discussion in regards to development. There are some targets and objectives of our women, how to reduce the gender inequality. So first one is equal opportunities. We should have in our society, each and every person give the equal opportunity to women. If we talk about the education, if we talk about the business, if we talk about the health, if we talk about the parliament, so women have the equal opportunity to each and every era. Second one is ending all forms of discrimination for women in everywhere, like dowry system and sexual harassment. So there should be all discrimination of all the forms in women. Why that we are forcing the women for discrediting? So there should be ending. Third one is promote empowerment of women through technology. As we know that today's scenarios, technological development is spreading day by day. So there should be an empowerment of women promoting through the technology. Now, fourth one is eliminate all forms of violence against women. Like domestic violence is the one of the best example. There should be elimination, especially in rural areas, because condition of women in rural areas is very worse because of domestic violence. Fifth one is eliminate all harmful practices like early and forced marriage. As we know that in rural areas, girls' child, they are forcefully married in low age. So there should be eliminate that type of practices. Next one is equal rights to economic resources, property ownership, and financial services. So there should be give the equal rights of all women in economic resources, property ownership, and financial services. Next one is principle of gender inequality. There are 7 principles of gender equality. First one is stabilize high level corporate leadership for gender equality. There should be a corporate leadership. Women should become a very good leader and handle the all business entire, because as we know that women can handle our home also. So we can see that it is the best example of leadership. Second one is treat all women and men fairly at a workplace. There should be fairly managed and treating the all women like a man, giving the respect and supporting the human right and non-discrimination. Third principle is ensure the health, safety, and well-being of women and men workers. There should be give the hazard practices for health, especially for the health, because women, in comparison of men, facing a lots of we are consuming the like child, and apart from that, we are suffering from the every month like forms. So there should be give the rights of all the health safety also. Next principle is promote education marketing practices that empower the women. Women should be the like empowering in the all area like development and supply chain also.
Monica ma'am, you have unmuted. Sorry, you have muted ma'am. Yes.
National policy for the empowerment of women,
Can you
which is called
explain from the PPT itself?
which is national
Please
women,
start now.
which are powers and all the like parliament power. Next one is Women Industries Training Institute. This institute gave the training and including and the 44 women's beings and make a circulate form. Next is Advisha Mahil Sakshana Yojana MSY, which is run by the government in all rural areas for developing the status, increasing the status and development of women. Next is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana, which is also posed by the government and circulate in all, spreading the all state government, which is providing the very good response in the all states. Now I'm concluding my topic, not taking us so much time. Women play a key role in socio-economic progress of our society. They must therefore be equal participants and equal beneficiaries of development program. And Swami Vivekananda had said that as fly on one wings, no society can make progress unless its women who join many all activities. This statement has highly made clear that importance of a woman in a society is very important. It is unfortunate that despite a high growth rate and painful government equality, so there should be a discrimination of violence of human rights, women, girl trafficking, dowry rape, and continuing the and government rules and policies are not enough for gender equality and women empowerment. It is the regards people in mindset must be changes and orthodox activities must be removed from the society. By that we make up like nature free and women society. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monica.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you, dear madam. Thank you, dear madam. Actually, your presentation indeed it's a full of facts.
Thank you so much for giving
you,
this opportunity.
Yeah, you addressed all the principles related to the gender equality in a very well manner. So thank you very much, ma'am, for your presentation. Yeah, and here I have to say that in this ultra modern world, still we have to face the technical glitches. So there is no issue with that, ma'am. Yeah, and we have a very young.
Ma'am, I request.
Yes, 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 please request. Yeah, please go, ma'am.
Ma'am, I request. Ma'am, I request 2 more students are there from our institute. They are left and they are waiting for their turn, ma'am.
Sure.
Can I call them, please?
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, Aanchal Verma from BBA first year student. I request Aanchal Verma to please come and share her views. Aanchal, are you ready? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Please start.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, respected faculties and my dear friends and respective faculties. Before I wanna my speech, I want to say that that gender equality is not a woman's issue. It's not a woman's issue. It is a human issue. Okay. This is and this is Aanchal Verma, BBA first year students, Indore Management Institute, Indore. gender equality is gender equality is when peoples of all genders have equal rights and opportunities such by gender equality, women's, men's, and transgenders deserve people's, children's, and female families. Gender equality is also also known as sexual equality or equality of the sexes. Is the state of equal pace of access of resources and opportunities. Of gender, it is providing equal opportunities and rights, both man and woman, both women and men's, and political, economics, education, and health quarters. Gender, what is the difference between intersex, transgenders, transsexual, and non-binarily? We need gender equality to urgently gender equality prevents violence against women and girls. It's essential for economic prosperities, socialistics, that value of women's and men's was equally are safer, healthier. Gender equality is a human right. Okay. Article 15 said that gender equalities of opportunity that for all the citizens and matters of all employments. Okay. There is in 30 rights, 30 articles. Okay. It's it is woman 14 guarantees to all persons equally before the law and equal protections of the laws. Okay. The second is
please conclude your speech. Achal, please conclude your speech. Beta.
Yes, ma'am. That is my prosperity. This is my point of view. Where when the India is not independent, the peoples are not equal rights. The other genders and the women's and men's. And before India independent, all genders and all other other peoples to include some opportunities and equal rights. Equals right. My vision is that he include the. Thank you so much.
Ria, first of all, I would like to your your expression, which you include in a very first half in your speech, that the gender equality is not the issue of woman, it is the issue of human. So thank you very much for this quote, dear. Thank you very much. Parul ma'am, please call the other student.
Yes, ma'am. We have another student from BBA first year. Okay. Can we have him? Dr. Reena Gupta?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Vikas Gupta from BBA first year. Vikas, are you there? Please start with your speech, Vikas. You are audible. Please start.
Vikas, I think you have to switch on your mute button.
Hello?
Yes. Okay.
My voice is audible?
Yes, yes. Please go.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, sorry. Eminent teacher and eminent so before I want to start my speech, I want to say that I want to say that gender equality is not a woman's issue. Gender equality is not a woman's issue. It's a human issue. It affects us all. So by this quote, I want to share my thoughts on the topic of gender equality by introducing myself Vikas Gupta from Indore Management Institute in Indore, India. And currently I am pursuing BBA from Indore Management Institute. So let's start. Gender equality belongs to all the community living in human society, whether it's a man, woman, and transgender and LGBTQ. It refers to give equal rights and equal opportunity to their capability, as their capability, and not on the basis of their gender. Every individual in the society deserve to get equal status, opportunity, and rights. However, it is a general observation that much discrimination exists among humans. In the current scenario, India government is very interested in trying to promote gender equality, as they are developing some of new laws to make in India gender discrimination is not a topic of debate. Article 15 says prohibited discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, and the place of birth. The article cannot prevent the state from making any special provisions for women and children. And Article 16 states that these shall be equal opportunity for all the citizens in India in matter of employment or appointment of any office. I am not talking about the world, but as a parent, if you can give your child proper right and courage to your child, then the word gender doesn't matter for his or her, and child will be set great example like Lakshmi Tripathi, and like her parents. Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi, she was born in Multi-Bai Hospital in 13 December 1978. Lakshmi was the first transgender person to represent Asia Pacific in the UN in 2008. She spoke of the plight of sexual minority. People should be more human, like they should respect us humans and consider our rights as transgender. From this, you can learn that if you give a proper right direction and support to other gender, they can achieve no one ever thought. If you want to change something in word, so you should firstly change yourself. And at the last, a gender equal society would be one where the word gender doesn't exist, where everyone can be themselves. So thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you so much, Vikas. You have very nicely pointed out all the things, and I can see the expressions of Daniel again, and he is very happy to listen to these speeches of our students. Thank you so much. Thank you from Indore Management Institute. One last presentation from our student, Aman Rajawat. Aman Rajawat, are you ready? Yes, Aman, you can speak now.
Hello.
Yes, Aman, you can start your...
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Beta, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Hello. Good afternoon to all.
Yes, one another student.
Aman, please start.
Oh, ma'am, wait. Okay, sorry. Now I'm starting with the main topic. We are living in the world full of we we are living in the world where the people judge us as the way we walk, the way we talk, and anything we do, everything we do, our sexuality and everything else. Sorry, ma'am.
Aman, don't feel nervous. You can do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now I'm tell you some important points. So listen carefully. First, ensure full participation in leadership and decision making. In this, we can ensure full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision making in political, economic, and public life. Now we're discussing about second point, universal access to reproductive health and rights. Ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights as agreed in accordance with the program of action of the International Conference on Population and Development of the Beijing Platform and action at the outcome documents for their review conferences. Now we're discussing about the third point, equal rights to economic resources, property ownership, and financial services. Undertake reforms to give women equal rights to economic resources as well as access to ownership and control over land and other forms of property, financial services, inheritance, and natural resources in accordance with national laws. Another point, promote empowerment of women through technology. Enhance the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communication technology, to promote the empowerment of women. Another point, adopt and strengthen policies and enforceable legislation for gender equality. It's the most important point. Adopt and strengthen sound policies and enforceable legislation for the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls at the all levels. In the end,
Aman, can you please conclude your speech now?
Ma'am, what?
Can you please conclude? Can you please end up with one sentence now?
Yes, ma'am. As my words, ma'am, I can say that I'm not seek gender equality because I'm the student of any college and any community or any community. I'm just seek for gender equality as I think that every gender have to respect. And thank you all of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So there is one student from the expression English. Yeah.
Yes.
Siddharth Chaurasia, are you ready with that? Siddharth? Yes. Okay. Please go ahead.
Siddharth, you can speak now. Yes.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. And I have prepared a short speech about gender inequality because I had a topic in my in 7th class.
Okay, that's very good.
So I wrote it now. Although the ages women on the basis of gender have always been discriminated in almost the society of the world, women are paid less amount for doing the same amount in comparisons of men. Low status of women in the society of subjugation of women in the male-dominated society confine them to 4 walls of the house. Besides, they are ill-treated and considered inferior to men even today. Inequality of women has not been effected in practice despite legislation. Preference given to the birth of a male child irrespectively of the economic and Educational status of a family. Preference is given to the birth of a male child than to a female child because this practice has its roots in the age of old tradition of Hindu society. Only when it has a son. A family is known by the children of a male. Birth of a girl as a liability due to the evil system of dowry. Parents think that a girl is a liability to them. Even after the marriage of the daughter, parents have to spend a lot of them. Dowry system is very old in India. The basis of it appear to be a shame system. The parents of the daughter used to give some essential articles in the form of dowry to their daughters to help the couple to be in the post-marriage life. मैम कुछ points और लिखे. Now, what do we mean by the gender inequality? Distinction is made between males and females, and unequal treatment is meted for out to boys and girls in different fields. It is called gender inequality. In India, there are various factors which perpetuate gender inequality and keep the status of women low. Gender equality in India exists in terms of gross population, literacy, sex ratio, socio-economic status, and opportunity. The various efforts have been made by the government to improve the condition of women, which are as follows. Women were given the equal to vote, equal money for equal work, declaring dowry as illegal, women's education, poverty appalling in our country, raising awareness, improvement of women. In the 19th century, many new ideas emerged about the education and professions of women, which make a woman economically self-educated, and professions of women, which make a woman economically self-sufficient. It gives the power to make her own decisions independently in our country. Now, women have the legal right to work and right to earn fair wage for the work. The government runs various schemes to help women become economically independent. Many girls and women get jobs in different fields which were secured only men in the last decades, like army, railway driving, and pilot. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was the first Indian to take the lead in the direction of social reform. He was the founder of the Brahmo Samaj and laid stress on abolishing sati system, child marriage, and advocated widow remarriage. He is rightly called the father of modern India. Swami Dayanand and Saraswati was the founder of the Arya Samaj. He opposed sati system, child marriage, and infanticide. He emphasizes on widow remarriage and women education. He worked actively for the upliftment of women. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, a great scholar, introduced many programs for the upliftment of women. He laid stress on the opening a number of schools for girls. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan strongly opposed the Parda system and advocated for the spread of education among the Muslim women. He condemned the social evils of polygamy and divorce in Muslim society. Jyotiba Phule was a pioneer of widow marriage, remarriage movement in Maharashtra. At the age of 21 in 1851, he started a school for girls at Pune. The helpless and miserable plight of Hindu women's widows moved him, and he started a private orphanage to help the widows. Thank you.
Siddharth, can we see your face with a smile?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so Siddharth,
thank you.
Please actually make the face and yeah, please join the hands. Yeah, okay, amazing, amazing. Means this little young guy has in his speech puts lots of ancient scholars' name. So Siddharth, who helped you to prepare this speech?
Ma'am, I take some points from my book of 7th class, and some points I noted from my mind, and I watched movies and other things.
You are a student of class 7, Siddharth?
8th.
8th. You have entered into 8th class.
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice. Very nice.
Please make a virtual.
If we
clip of
have these
Siddharth.
kind of young bright minds, yes, sure.
Okay, so Daniel, we have make you a co-host. Daniel, we have make you a co-host. Would you like to say something?
Yes.
So how's your experience from since morning 10 a.m. to it's a 1:26 p.m. in India? So what is your experience today?
Okay. Yes, congratulations to speakers. Very intelligent. They speak for the child. Congratulations. Your future is promise. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Christiana, would you like to say something? Okay,
no.
I think.
No. Okay, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you. In the last minute, thank you. The last boy is amazing. How powerful voice he have, and how lots of beautiful mind. And I hope that he will make change in next 10 years around himself and influence for other boys, because we must wake up the boys. That is important. The gender equality, I work in technical school, and because of that I want to wake up the boys, not just empower the women. We have power, but the boys must be educated, and we must make the workshop, and we must be proactive, and we must make to bring the light in the light in that young life, boy's life, that the woman is important, because without woman you can't make change anything, because woman makes the lives, woman makes the woman brings the new lives. And because of that we must change the perspective view of the boys, and they must respect the sisters, the mothers, and the girls, and everybody around themselves. Because my students are their Muslim of Islamic religion, and they have the different point of viewing what is the woman, and I want to empower that boys that we are equal. In Croatia, south of Europe, we are the part of the Europe, and we have still that not good meaning what is the woman's place. And because of that, we must change the boys, their perspective. We must change their perspective of the woman. Thank you. And that last boy is amazing. Last Indian boy is amazing speech he made. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christiana, for your view. Yes, it's actually Siddharth, your speech is wonderful. Keep it up, Siddharth. Keep it up. So I actually, my big salute to all the students of the Indore Management Institute, as well as all the students of the Expression English. So yes, here is the ocean of the knowledge, and every day we are ready to dive in the ocean of knowledge. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And it's time to leave the meeting, to end the meeting. And tomorrow we will meet again with the next goal, next sustainable development goal, which is goal number 6. So tomorrow we will enjoy the lots of guest speakers, lots of sessions by the students on the sustainable development goal 6. And Daniel, we would love to see you tomorrow again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for your all cooperation. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Parul
one big
Shada.
congratulations to students of Imperial College, Bargad also. They have presented very well.
Yes.
Odisha,
Actually, yeah,
yes.
I forget to the Imperial College. Yeah, the all the faculty members and the students of the Imperial College presented very well, and I guess one of the faculty member spoke about the principles of the gender equality. So yes, definitely we have to make sure that the principles of the gender equality should be followed in their way, so that we can achieve the target of the gender equality, the Sustainable Development Goal 5. So thank you very much, Imperial College, for associating with the Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2022 as a knowledge associate. Thank you very much, Imperial College. And I can see daily Haripriya Sahu ma'am. She is from Imperial College, right, sir? Yes. So Haripriya Sahu ma'am, thank you
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much. Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am, for your association, ma'am, to associate your college, Imperial College, as a knowledge associate in this Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2022. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. So with your permission, Dr. Parul Shada ma'am, can we end the meeting? Thank you. And
yes, ma'am, for sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christiana.
Here,
Thank
here I
Daniel.
can see Dean Law ma'am from the Oriental University. Actually, she is most probably she is busy with her task. So I would like to also thank the Wiki National President Dr. Anar Mehta, Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for associating today. The Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry is working a lot to empower the women. So thank you very much, Dr. Anar Mehta. Thank you very much, Dr. Priya Sipaha, Dean Law, Oriental University. And she is the chairperson of the Women Gender Development Cell in Oriental University. And she was one of the guest speaker in today's session, on a first half of this meeting. So thank you one and all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you supporting us and boost our morale in such a very huge manner. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all. Thank you. So it's a time to say goodbye, and tomorrow we will definitely meet with the same energy and with the great enthusiasm. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Thank you. So I would like to request technical team, please end this meeting. Thank you.